Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us again for another episode of That Solo Life. My name is Michelle Kane, and I'm here with my partner in crime, my co-host, Karen Swim.
Hello, everyone. We're so happy to be with you again. Today, we are going to be talking about things that PR pros or other professionals might do to annoy journalists and or clients. And our topic was inspired, right? Fun topic. Our topic was inspired by a MuckRack blog post that talked about two things that PR pros do to annoy journalists and sort of delved into the reasons why that happens. So, Michelle, let's dive in.
Okay. Yeah, it was a great article. It's nice to be, no matter how seasoned we are, to be reminded of the don'ts. And the one thing that struck me was, basically the article said it's, a lot of it happening at the agency level that, that's what you do. You reach out to journalists and you just, ping them regularly when you've got something you're trying to pitch. And what really brought to mind to me was, PR, it's a long game. And that's that push and pull when we're working with clients of almost educating them to that of, yes, I am working for you right now, even though I'm not getting any results at the moment. But a lot of it is seed planting. And it's just with the understanding of that. And the other thing that struck me as well was, as we all know, unfortunately, the journalist pool is lessening. We're dealing with consolidated, closing of newspapers, consolidation of newsrooms. So, that just heightens the tension on both ends.
I agree. I think one of the things that jumped out at me is that some of the things that were cited as being completely annoying to journalists are things that are very much a part of agency life. So when you're running your own business, thankfully, those are things that we are not accused of doing. But I always care about the profession as a whole because journalists don't make that distinction necessarily. When you get a pitch in your inbox or when you hear the word PR, you're thinking about the sum total of your whole experience. So, what bothers me kind of about those annoyances, the ones that are controllable, is that I think that it's a disservice to people in any profession to have policies and procedures that are not necessary just for the sake of record keeping or just because it's a traditional process that don't serve either the professional or ultimately the end user. So, for example, a lot of the things cited seem like things that, people are required to do to show that, A, they're working. And that feels very 1920s to me.
Yeah, it's artificial.
Yeah. Have we not moved away from, this pure manufacturing economy where you're punching in, punching out, and you have to show that the time that you spent at work, you actually did task?
Correct.
I would think of, public relations professionals, as well as, writers and social media strategists and marketing people as more knowledge workers. And so it saddens me that our culture still has some of these outdated practices. And further, a lot of that, of course, if you follow it up the line, it's not necessarily to show the boss, but because you're trying to show the client. And I get it. I battle these same fights as an independent where clients don't always understand public relations and you are having to translate the value of public relations for them with analytics. But in gathering those analytics, I'm certainly not annoying other professionals. And so I think there's, some of it is education, educating clients on how to measure and working together collaboratively to say, what's success going to look like for you? Okay, here's how we can measure that together and move away from things like, I'm going to send you a log every week of how many phone calls I made, because who cares? Maybe you made 2 phone calls and you landed your client exactly what they wanted. Does it really matter that it was 2 phone calls or 200? I mean, your client's not paying you to make phone calls. Your client is paying you for your results, right?
Right. And that very thing is it. So if you made 2 calls and landed it, is the client going to say, well, great, now give me part of my fee back? No, the fee is the fee. You're paying for our knowledge, our professionalism, the relationships we are building. And, there's a reason we exist, and there's a reason why when you try on your own, it doesn't quite work, does it?
I agree. And I would encourage organizations, because I feel like this is a burden that all of us should bear, and that we all have to work together to, first of all, respect one another as professionals.
Right.
That clients absolutely, if you hire somebody and you're hiring them because there's an implicit trust, you're trusting them to do what they said that they would do, then treat them that way. Don't treat them like, they are robotic monkeys who are supposed to check off these boxes.
Right.
And so I do believe, and I believe that type of, oversight and requirement for administrative details can sometimes be a result of a company's own culture. So if this is how you treat your external people, I have to believe that also is how you treat your internal people. And it's just not productive, in this day and age.
Right. No, exactly. It's like you're working piecework in the old factories. I made 12 pairs of pants today. Yay.
Exactly. I mean, I got to tell you, we all, as independent business people, there are those weeks and those days that you really want to say that. You want to say something as simple as that, because there are days that you have, expended so much energy and you feel like you have worked so hard. But when you look at your day, there's nothing really tangible that you can grab onto, or there's not a box to check. Like, is chaos a checkbox on the list? Because I got that covered today.
I am spent from all the peopling. And the one thing else, to remember, and it's funny, actually, I was saying this to a client just earlier today. Right now for you isn't always right now for the journalist, even if they think it's the best thing ever.
Absolutely.
Timing's a factor as well, and they just get so inundated that I try to say at the outset, I'm like, look, I am going to work as hard as I can, and be as smart as I can for you. There are no guarantees in this. All we can hope is that
there are no guarantees.
No, at the very least, we can plant a seed, and that's it. So, yeah, it can be frustrating all around. I'll attend panel discussions, and it's, I'm at least heartened to know that, okay, most journalists, they're fine with getting your emails. It's just, the major pet peeve is, please don't call and say, did you get my email? Thinking, oh my gosh, I wouldn't. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what's your email address? Because I'm going to block it.
I mean, there's a way to handle the call down. There's an art to all of this, and I agree. If that's your opening line, then probably, somebody. I mean, think about it. First of all, journalists are outnumbered by PRs. People.
Oh, totally.
So there's some annoyances inherent in just the gap between the sheer volume of numbers.
Right.
However, there are some things that you can at least do on your part. So we're talking about, the things that you can't control, but you can control sending relevant pitches. You can control the frequency of your contact. You can control respectful interactions. There's a lot of controllables, and sometimes you are, in spite of everything that you've done right, you're going to have maybe a person who's cranky. That's life.
That's
It's
true.
not limited to journalists. It's, true of every profession. Sometimes you just get people that are cranky, and they might
Yeah.
be overworked, tired, and have a super low tolerance level for any human contact. And that's
Right.
okay, as long as you are doing all of the right things. So,
Right.
but the things in the article didn't really focus on, the things that we control, but the things that people do because they're being forced into this inefficient system by a boss or by a client.
Right. Yeah, I think it would be beautiful all around just for the profession if, someone had if they just decided to take that first brave step and move away from that kind of system. But
I mean,
we'll
I
see.
do too. It's always interesting to read these kind of articles because for all of the progress that we talk about that's been made in the workforce and in work culture, these sort of things emerge that show that we have these deeply embedded processes that are still very last century.
Yes.
And so, we talk about, open concept floor plans at work and, progressive snacks and, flexible schedules. And then we do stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so this person who's probably sitting in some fancy, beautiful office with, a meditation room and sleep pods is still being forced
and
to
free cereal.
Yeah, free boxes. Check this box to show that you actually worked today.
Exactly, but work in this archaic way that's not really going to get the result, the desired result. I guess that's the main thing. It's like rarely will this get the truly desired result without someone getting annoyed. So why do it? And I get it. It's hard to break that. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like in some ways it is, but we just all have to be smarter about, how we're managing people, how we're managing our work, and how we're thinking. It's time to shift this whole definition of work and results. And of course, as fellows, we see some of this, outmoded thinking with clients as well. And sometimes it does require a bit of education.
Right. And it's like, okay, you say you want X, but what you're really probably wanting to pursue is Y. It's like, oh, I want to get in this paper. I'm like, how about we do some, through the whole frustration of trying to get media placements, it brings to mind, of educating clients to first and foremost be your own media. You on your own can be your own media company, and being consistent with that and also pursuing placements, put that all together and your reach widens, your influence widens, and you feel far less frustrated if, that at least you feel like you are doing something.
I agree. And then not pursuing vanity media, which, I mean, let's face it, there are those who are in that business, and that's fine. If you're clear that that's your goal, if you're clear
if we're honest about what it is.
That's fine. But for a lot of, businesses, and especially in the B2B space, that really isn't the goal. The goal is to get in front of your audience, your buyer pool. Or the people that influence the buying decisions. And sometimes that means looking at different types of outlets and, looking at different, types of strategies. And so, I agree. But and I mean, again, I think that's why it's so important when for an organization, if you're the person that's looking at securing help with your public relations and marketing, and then from the professional side, to really be a clear communicator, to, really collaborate on what the expectations are and what the results are going to look like, and then how you're going to measure that so that you can report on the right things. Because I absolutely agree that we should be held accountable, but we shouldn't be held accountable for tasks. It shouldn't be, a line by line item of, well, I spent, 10 minutes editing this sentence that you wrote. That doesn't tell you anything.
Right.
But we should focus on results and the results that you want to achieve. Now, if the results aren't there, then, both sides need to come together and have a discussion about, what went wrong, why the breakdown, why didn't we, achieve what we wanted to achieve? Was there a failure? Maybe sometimes there's not. Sometimes it means just a revised strategy is needed. So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, let's be adults.
Yes.
Let's be modern adults.
What? Oh, come on. No, I mean, I know I've had that frustration in pitching a very worthwhile story about an animal rescue, which, 5-10 years ago would have been a snooze, and it was tough. Barely got anything. And I'm thinking, I still don't quite know, except that, our local newspapers are, the newsrooms are slimming, and that's what I'm chalking that up to. But, it's a challenge. It certainly is. And, it's that fine line. But yeah, I agree. Let's all be adults and just realize that. Yeah, I often wonder too if clients just get this notion of, the PR people, it's kind of fun, whatever you do. So it's not really work. So I don't know. Am I on the wrong track? It's almost as though, well, I know how to talk to people. So what's your problem? Why can't you get this done? I'm like, yeah, it's not quite that simple, frankly.
Yeah. Well,
almost the consumerism of it all. Yeah.
Kudos to us if we make it look easy to other people.
Right. That's true. Very true.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I think that, every public relations person has, sometimes you are literally battling alligators behind the scenes and nobody even knows.
Yeah.
So you may see the results of a campaign or a story, and everybody is celebrating it, and everything that it took to get to that point. And so, but I think that's, this profession is definitely suits certain personality types. And I feel like, we're get it done people, and, we have some tense moments. There can be sleepless nights, but we're going to get the job done for our clients, and we're going to go after the results. And you may not always see the beads of sweat on our forehead. You just may not see it because we feel like this is my job. This is what I do. We'll handle it, and we handle it calmly, and nobody sees all of the things, the million different moving parts that we have to manage in order to make it happen.
It's a no wake area. We make no waves.
Yes, this is true.
There's a lot going on under the surface. Yes. Yeah.
Oh boy, that's a mouthful. Yeah, it is. We could do a whole segment on that.
We could.
But so I think this was a fun topic for us, and I think the moral is that we need to really move forward in the way that we perceive work and work results, and make sure that we're not imposing these burdens on people that, first of all, can be irritating to the external world, but also really just don't lend themselves to the actual results. Because if you're just doing things just to be doing things and just to be checking a box, it's probably time to really examine and say, now, why do we collect that data? Why are we doing that? Why is that process like that? Does that serve us today? And how, what is there anything that we're gaining from this information that can help us do a better job?
Exactly. I mean, it's the old adage, well, we've always done it this way. That's like death to progress is living by that motto. So, and it's not trying to create unique methods for the sake of that, but like you say, it's what can we do to efficiently, professionally get the desired result? And we're all creative, so be creative.
I agree.
Think of different unique ways to tell your story that will pique the interest. So
I agree.
So that's our wisdom for the day. Oh. We are spent in this long, hot summer.
We are. But we thank you all so much for joining us. And please don't forget to subscribe. Share the links with all of your friends and family, even if they don't understand truly what public relations is. We hope that this podcast is for more than PR professionals.
Yes.
And we will see you on the next episode of That Solo Life.